Firefly was canceled mid-scene while the cast was still filming.
Time for some thrilling heroics.
Fox deliberately aired the episodes out of order, and a lost script secretly became a feature film. These are 14 incredible facts about Firefly you never knew. 1. Fox sabotaged the show before it even aired. Fox executives received the 2-hour pilot episode, Serenity, and hated it. Too slow, too dark. Not enough action in the opening minutes to hook casual viewers flipping through channels. Their solution was to order Joss Whedon to write a completely new premiere episode in a single weekend. He did. The result was The Train Job, a standalone action episode that dropped viewers directly into the middle of an established world with no introduction and no context. Then Fox aired it first. Audiences tuning in for the debut of a new science fiction series met a crew they knew nothing about, on a ship they'd never seen, with relationships and histories that had never been explained. The confusion was immediate, and the ratings reflected it. The actual pilot, the episode that introduced every character and established the entire premise, didn't air until the show was already canceled. Fox didn't give Firefly a chance to fail. They arranged the failure in advance. 2. The Chinese swearing was a censorship loophole. The characters of Firefly curse fluently and frequently in Mandarin. It was presented as world-building, a sign of Chinese cultural influence on the future. It was also a deliberate workaround for the FCC. The Mandarin phrases the cast delivered throughout the series weren't polite expressions or mild expletives. They were, by any standard of translation, spectacularly filthy. Anatomical insults, graphic slurs, language that would have triggered immediate network intervention if spoken in English on primetime television. The censors didn't catch a single word. Nobody at the FCC was cross-referencing the dialogue against a Mandarin dictionary. The actors performed genuinely obscene material in front of a broadcast audience of millions and walked away clean every time. Whedon understood that the rules governing language on American television were written in one language. He simply used another one. It worked for the entire run of the show, all 14 episodes of it. 3. Han Solo is hidden in the cargo bay. Somewhere in the background of the Serenity cargo bay, frozen in carbonite, is Han Solo. The prop department placed a small model of the iconic Star Wars figure in the set as a quiet tribute to the franchise that made space opera mainstream. It appears across multiple episodes, not always in the same position. The crew moved it between shoots, turning it into a recurring Easter egg for anyone paying close attention to the background. It was never called out in dialogue, never referenced in the plot. The camera never pushed in on it. It simply existed in the background of scene after scene, waiting for someone to notice. A piece of one science fiction universe quietly occupying another. Most viewers watched all 14 episodes without catching it. The ones who found it told everyone they knew. That's exactly the kind of detail a prop department hides when they love the show they're working on. 4. Joss Whedon fought the studio to keep space silent. Every exterior space shot in Firefly is completely silent. No engine roar, no explosion boom, no sound whatsoever. Just the ship moving through vacuum the way physics actually requires. The studio pushed back hard. Network executives were genuinely worried that audiences would assume their televisions were malfunctioning during the silent sequences. Test viewers had expressed confusion. The notes coming down from Fox were clear. Add sound. Make it feel like space is supposed to feel. Whedon refused. He understood that the silence was doing specific dramatic work. It created contrast. When the show was loud and chaotic inside the ship, the sudden cut to silent exterior space had weight. The absence of sound communicated the scale and indifference of the universe in a way that engine noise would have completely destroyed. Firefly wasn't the first science fiction property to attempt scientific accuracy in space. It was one of the few that held the line when the network told them to stop. 5. The cast developed a punishment ritual for Flubbed Takes. 14 episodes isn't much time to build a family. The Firefly cast found ways to compress the process. One of them was a running on-set ritual centered on mistakes. When an actor flubbed a line or ruined a take, The rest of the cast responded with mock punishment, a theatrical slap, a chorus of exaggerated booing, a collective groan performed with complete commitment. The worse the flub, the more elaborate the response. It sounds like the kind of thing that would slow down an already tight production schedule. It had the opposite effect. The ritual transformed individual mistakes into shared comedy. Tension broke. The atmosphere stayed loose. Actors who might have retreated into self-consciousness after a bad take were instead laughing within seconds. The found family dynamic that made Firefly emotionally resonant wasn't just good writing. It was built in real time on a set where failure was treated as entertainment. You can feel it in every scene. It didn't come from nowhere. 6. Nathan Fillion claimed every prop on the ship. Nathan Fillion ran the set the way Mal Reynolds ran Serenity, with complete confidence and selective disregard for the rules. His most committed production-long prank involved ownership. Fillion moved through the ship sets with a marker and signed the underside of everything. The dining table, the pilot's chairs, the equipment panels in the cockpit, prop after prop, piece after piece, quietly claimed in his name. His stated reasoning was practical. The show felt precarious. Cancellation was always a possibility. If the sets got broken down and the props got distributed or sold, he wanted documentation of what was rightfully his. He also reportedly began every new scene by shouting, "Storming the castle," as the cameras rolled. For reasons that appear to be purely personal, the show was canceled before he could collect on his claimed inventory. Whether the signed props still exist somewhere in a Warner Brothers storage facility is a question nobody has definitively answered. 7. Joss Whedon wrote the theme song. In 10 minutes. The Ballad of Serenity, the acoustic folk song that opens every episode of Firefly, was written by Joss Whedon personally. He picked up a guitar and had the melody and lyrics completed in under 10 minutes. The speed wasn't accident or inspiration. It was precision. Whedon knew exactly what he wanted the theme to accomplish. He was making a space western, and he needed the opening 30 seconds to communicate that fusion immediately before a single frame of the show appeared. A folk song, a campfire melody, something that sounded like it belonged in the American Civil War and also somehow in the far future. The result is one of the most distinctive theme songs in science fiction television history. Instantly recognizable, tonally perfect for the show it introduces. 10 minutes, one guitar, no rewrites. Some things arrive correctly the first time. 8. The Alliance soldiers were wearing Starship Troopers costumes. The Alliance military, the Purple Bellies who serve as the show's institutional antagonists, needed to look imposing in uniform. The costume department needed to achieve this on a television budget that left very little room for custom fabrication. Their solution was a storage room at a film studio. The body armor and helmets worn by Alliance soldiers throughout Firefly were leftover props from the 1997 film Starship Troopers. The production had kept them in inventory. The Firefly costume team pulled them out, sprayed them gray, added a purple tint to justify the nickname, and sent them to set. Nobody noticed on broadcast television. The recycled armor looked authoritative and militaristic, which was exactly what was needed. The budget saved went elsewhere. In television production, everything goes elsewhere. The fact that the uniformed face of an oppressive galactic government was dressed in 5-year-old movie leftovers is either a compromise or a metaphor, depending on how generously you're feeling. 9. Summer Glau's fight scenes were built around Ballet River. Tam moves differently than every other character in the show. The fluid, off-axis, somehow boneless quality of her combat style doesn't look like stunt choreography. It doesn't look entirely human. That's because it was built on a foundation that has nothing to do with fighting. Summer Glau trained as a professional ballet dancer before she became an actress. When the Firefly stunt coordinators began designing River's combat sequences, they recognized what they had and built the choreography around her actual physical training. The extensions, the balance, the control of momentum, all ballet technique repurposed as violence. Glau could execute movements her stunt doubles physically could not replicate. The production used her directly rather than cutting away, which meant the camera could hold on River during combat in ways that would have been impossible with a less trained performer. The result is a fighting style that feels genuinely alien. A government-engineered weapon who moves like a dancer, because she is one. 10. The ship was designed to look like an insect in flight. The design brief for Serenity was specific and unusual. The ship needed to feel alive. Not sleek, not military. Alive and tired and held together through stubbornness rather than engineering. The Firefly insect provided the visual solution. The ship's rear section glows when the engines engage, exactly the way a Firefly's abdomen illuminates during flight. The silhouette from certain angles reads unmistakably as a bug in motion. The neck connecting the forward and rear sections of the ship was built on a gimbal that allowed it to flex slightly during flight sequences. The designers wanted the connection to look stressed, structural but not confident. The finished ship looks like something that should have been retired a decade ago and keeps flying anyway through a combination of maintenance, prayer, and the refusal of its crew to accept the alternative. That was the point. The ship was the show's central metaphor before a single actor stepped aboard. 11. Zac Efron's first professional job was in this show. In the episode Safe, a flashback sequence shows a younger version of Simon Tam as a child. The boy playing young Simon was a then-unknown actor in one of his earliest professional roles. That actor was Zac Efron. This was years before High School Musical. Before the fame, the magazine covers, the global recognition. Efron was a teenager taking whatever work he could find, and one of those jobs placed him in a Firefly episode that would be canceled before the season finished airing. The cameo is brief. Efron is recognizable if you're watching for him and invisible if you're not. Nothing about the performance signals what was coming. Most people who love Firefly have seen that episode multiple times without registering who the child actor was. Most people who love Zac Efron have no idea he spent a day on the Serenity set before anyone knew his name. Both groups are usually surprised to learn about the other. 12. The cast found out. They were canceled while cameras were rolling. Production on The Message, one of the final episodes of Firefly, was underway when the news arrived. Fox had canceled the show. It was over. The cast found out on set, in costume, in the middle of a shooting day. The atmosphere changed immediately and completely. Crew members who had spent months building something together absorbed the information in real time while the production continued around them. Actors who had been performing the easy camaraderie of a found family suddenly knew it was ending. They kept filming. If the performances in that final episode carry a weight that feels different from the rest of the series, it's because they do. The actors weren't performing loss. They were experiencing it while the cameras ran. The Message became an accidental document of a cast saying goodbye to something they loved while pretending to be someone else, in a world that was being canceled out from under them. 13. Fox pressured Whedon to make the rebels look like criminals. The political undercurrent of Firefly made Fox nervous from the beginning. The Browncoats, the show's protagonists, were veterans of a failed rebellion against a centralized galactic government. They lost. They were living in the margins of a civilization built by the people who defeated them. The structural parallel to the American Civil War's losing side was obvious, and the network's censors were paying attention. Fox pushed Whedon to adjust the balance. Make the alliance more clearly virtuous. Make the Browncoats more clearly compromised. Give the audience permission to feel comfortable with the established order. Whedon pushed back. His position was simple. The show was about what happens to people after they lose a war they believed in. Making the winners obviously right would have destroyed the entire premise. The moral complexity wasn't a problem to be fixed. It was the point. Fox lost that argument. The show was canceled 4 months later anyway. 14. The lost episode became the Serenity movie among Firefly fans. A script exists in legend. an unfilmed episode titled Dead or Alive, which reportedly contained the full origin story of the Reavers, the show's most terrifying antagonists, feral humans operating at the edge of explored space. The television version of the Reavers was deliberately mysterious. Their origins were never explained on screen. The show was canceled before the story got there. The Dead or Alive script didn't disappear. Its core material, the conspiracy, the government experiment, the revelation that the Reavers were created rather than born, migrated into the screenplay for the 2005 feature film Serenity. The movie's central plot revelation, the thing that recontextualizes everything the show implied about the Alliance, came directly from a television episode that never got made. Firefly ended. The story found another door. The fans who kept asking for more got their answer 3 years later in a theater from a script that was never supposed to be a movie. So which truth about Firefly hit hardest? Drop your answer in the comments and let us know. Brown coat for life, or do you think the Alliance had a point? Subscribe and hit the bell. More classic sci-fi secrets are coming.